And welcome back to the Murdy Creative Co podcast. I'm your host, Colin Murdy, and today's topic is overwhelmed. But first, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported the company so far. If you haven't got a chance, go check us out on the web at murdycreative.co. That's MURDY creative.co. Or you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching at murdycreative.co to see the best of our product shots. Follow us on our social media to keep up to date with our daily photos and be the first one to know about new product launches. You can also use our subscribe button at the bottom of our website to be included in all of our new product announcements. Be sure to check out our laser engraving, personalization options, and exclusive colors on the website. Or you can get a blank one on Amazon Prime. All right, so today we're talking about overwhelmed. This is something that I think is something a lot of people don't want to talk about. A lot of people feel a little uncomfortable talking about, I think, when you're kind of the business person, when you're the one that's the personality behind the camera. But I think it's so important because we all get overwhelmed. There are times when we look at the things we are currently working on and we look at the things that are coming up and we look at the things that have happened all of a sudden and now we just feel very overwhelmed. Well, I'm currently in that place myself. Last night I was just so done. I was very upset and I just sat down, I just started writing and I wrote out all of the things that frustrated me. And I mean, it's very simple. I think to some extent I've been afraid because I feel like the company has succeeded despite some of my best efforts at times. You know, we've had trouble creating a coherent advertising strategy. We've been changing our Instagram ad buy plan. I mean, as the days go by, things have changed. And, you know, while at the beginning I kind of thought it was just being flexible and I kind of used that as my defense, I think in more serious terms, it was more of an unwillingness to sit down and create a real strategy, to create a real tactical plan, and then to execute that plan and stick with that plan. I think there's always a little bit of a fear for me developing any sort of plan when I don't want the plan to get in the way, because I've seen a lot of really good businesses struggle because they develop a plan and they're not willing to deviate from that. But I think I've swung in the opposite direction so far that I've actually created a problem for myself, because the strategy that we've been kind of going with has changed so rapidly. I don't think it's really allowing for the advertising algorithm to kind of get in its stride. It's not really allowing for the program to do the optimization that it's so powerful and capable of doing. So I think that's part of it. I mean, we've experienced such tremendous growth. We've quadrupled in sales revenue from June to September. And I think the problem is when you do that, you change the mentality of the company. Things go from being a hobby that I had as a side gig to being a full-time job that I do now. And I didn't do a very good job initially when I made that transition into developing habits, strategies, and what's the right way? Tactics in my personal life to kind of adjust to a more, not traditional, but a more real, in that sense of that word, business, you know, and having that be a full-time thing and not just a hobby. And I mean, a classic example is customer service requests. I think that's been our strongest power, and I think I pride ourselves on having good customer service and taking good care of our community and our, you know, the Murdy Nation. But I think at the same time there is at this point so much coming in from custom order requests to, you know, just nice things people say. We get wonderful notes from you guys, and I appreciate every one of those. They mean the world to me. They help me keep going. But I think that kind of those kinds of requests come in so often, and I haven't developed a good system in my email to organize that. And now we have such a multi-channel presence with our Instagram. We've got the cell phone messaging. We've got all of those. They've all kind of, we have customer service requests that come in so many different ways on so many different platforms that keeping track of which ones have been answered, which ones need to be answered right away, which ones that are simple questions that we can answer all at once, or what are the, you know, things like that. So keeping that organized has been a challenge. There hasn't been a cohesive strategy behind that up until now, and I think that's part of the overwhelmed feeling. You know, as far as our budget goes, I hadn't really planned. I hadn't really sat down and said, okay, this is how much we're going to spend on advertising. This is how much we're going to spend on logistics, on, you know, equipment, on labor now that we brought Sarah on. So I didn't do a good job initially at the end of September, in the beginning of October, and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how much we're going to spend on each activity and how we're going to create growth using this strategy. And so now, coming towards the end of October, I'm looking at our Instagram ad buy, and I'm looking at some of our other places that we've spent money, and I'm realizing that we over-leveraged ourselves heavily. We overspent on advertising, and I know that I've said you can't overspend on advertising. It's the thing you need to spend money on. But what I mean when I say that is we didn't do a good job organizing our advertisements in a strategic way so that we best used our dollars. And so we essentially wasted a good portion of our marketing by not creating an order and creating a unique offering, but at the same time creating a nice cohesive brand strategy so people can understand what we're doing here. And then on the other hand, I thought the logistics was just going to blow out. I thought we were going to have so many orders before the Christmas season, and we were going to need to prepare and have so much inventory on hand for the Christmas season that I way overspent on inventory, and I didn't do a good job managing that logistics train, what was coming in, what was going out, and organizing all of those color schemes and doing the proper analysis of that colors so that we would have the right amount on the shelf at the right time and not have too much. And I mean, now we've got a couple $1,000s sitting on the shelf, and some of it's been around for a long time. I mean, you can see we've got a couple of different pocket cuts and slim cuts and wide cuts and all this other stuff. So it's good to have some inventory, but particularly in a couple of our colors that haven't been selling as well, we have just a lot more inventory than I thought we'd ever need. And that's just money that we can't convert it back into dollars until it's sold. So that's where having a plan and a logistics strategy, and then also as part of that logistics strategy, doing a better job organizing our purchasing so that we purchase at the right time and we can do better tracking of how long it takes from when we purchase it to when it arrives, and kind of keeping track of our vendor and kind of keeping them on the ball. And we haven't done a good job organizing it so that when the packages come in, doing proper counting to make sure that it obviously arrived. We've just kind of trusted that it's been the right numbers, and sorting those to being able to say, okay, did every piece that come in, is that all grade A, perfect, we're going to go with those? Or are some of them, going to be part of the imperfect collection, the seconds that we have that are maybe not quite up to our primary quality standards? So I think that's been part of it, in developing cohesive logistics operations parts that I think we just haven't done a good job. And we haven't done a good job tracking our waste either. We've got an engraving system that is good, but the engraver will sometimes, maybe there's something that goes wrong with the machine and it fails, or we have an engraving that because of carelessness or operator error, we mess up the engraving, we have to re-engrave it. So we haven't done a good job organizing that waste, and because we haven't done a good job organizing that waste, it's hard to know how much our true cost of goods sold is. And that's something I need to do. This is a failure on my part to organize and lead the resources. When I got started with this, it was just about making good product. And I love doing that. And I still think that that's the core of my skill set. But, I went to business school. I should know this. I should know this, and I should do it better, right? This is something that it was my failure, because I forgot in my haste, in my effort to create the best product and have it always available and have it always ready and be ready to go and all that other good stuff, and to take care of good customers like I've been doing. I forgot that I have to manage and lead. I have to organize and lead. And that wasn't always my strong suit as a kid growing up, and it's something I need to continue to practice and develop in myself. But today is a new day. And that's where I just sat down and spent a good half hour, 45 minutes with a new notebook, a new binder. I just took all my old notes and I set them aside in a different binder, and I started a new notebook. And I started Murdy Creative Co. version 2.0. And I wrote down all of the things that we need to get done, our budget, our planning, our strategy, our ad buy analysis. I wrote down all of the things that we need to be able to, I organized them by priority, what needs to happen right now, what needs to happen soon. And I started working on developing a plan. And then the next step is deploying that. Developing that strategy and deploying that strategy. That's all that matters. Execution, in the end, is what creates the bacon. Execution is the only thing that can create success. You can develop the best strategy in the world, but if you don't execute it, it doesn't matter. So that's where I would say, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you feel like you have no control over the situation, if you feel like things have gotten out of control, if you are looking at the money going, I don't know what happened, take a breath, sit down with a piece of paper, preferably in one of our leather binders, and organize your thoughts. Write it down. The very act of writing it down gets you into a new place of order. That itself can create order. And I like to do this in my personal journal as well. I've got obviously my business notes and everything like that. But in my personal journal, I make a point. I try to do at least a page or two a day of notes in my little moleskin number 5. And I just want to write things that are on my mind, things that I'm worried about, things that I've got ideas for, things that I just don't want to forget. And maybe things I do want to forget that I want to get out of my head. So I think that those are tactics that I would say, if you're feeling overwhelmed, it doesn't have to be the end. You don't have to let that overwhelmed feeling cripple you and stymie your growth. And I hope you don't. All right, thanks, folks, for listening in today. Be sure to tune back in tomorrow for our next topic. And don't forget to check that subscribe button below to get the latest podcast right away. If you have any questions or concerns about your leather binder, please feel free to contact us on the main page of our website at Murdy Creative Co. Or you can contact us via our Instagram and Facebook. You can text, email, call, direct message. I'll do my best to get right back to you, but I appreciate your patience. If you think we deserve it, a good review can go a long way to helping this little community grow. And that being said, if you have any podcast topics you want to hear more about, send them my way. I'm always happy to engage with our growing community. If you need any, if you're looking for multiple binders for gifts, giveaways, or menus, really any reason, ask about our bulk discounts. We do have those available. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and goodbye.